Hey guys, today what we're going to be doing is looking at operations with scientific notation. That's when we add, subtract, multiply, and divide several types. So let's go ahead and look at this. Now this is how we solve these. What we're going to do is group them into two types of problems when we divide and multiply. I'm going to take one part where I am just looking at the numbers. This is going to be one part of the problem. The second part of the problem is when I'm just going to be looking at times the base 10s and their exponents. So what I want to focus on first is solving 3.15 all over 6.1. So all I'm going to do first is divide those two numbers. And so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to have 3.15 and divide that by 6.1. This is going to give me this decimal 0.516393. And the second thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and simplify these exponents. Now remember here, when I am simplifying exponents with division, what I do is I keep the base the same, so I'm still going to have this times 10, and what I'm going to do is subtract their exponents. The exponents are -8 minus -2. Minus +2. So that would simplify to -10. So let me go ahead and clean that up and just write -10 as my exponent. So now what I need to do is I need to make sure all my rules of scientific notation are true. Now remember, scientific notation, the number must be written between 1 and 10. This number is not written between 1 and 10, so what I need to do is move it one spot to the right. That means this number is going to have to be one place value bigger, so this would be 0.516. Excuse me, let me take that back. I'm moving it one spot to the right, so it'd be 5.16 times 10 to the -11th. So these values are equivalent, but the one on the top is not in scientific notation, while the one on the bottom is. This is your final answer right here. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the next one. Similar idea. We're going to treat this one the same by we're going to be multiplying the whole numbers with each other. The numbers in front. And we are also going to be multiplying the base 10 with the exponent, and we're going to keep the rules of exponents the same. So first what I'm going to do is 5 times 4.5, and 5 times 4.5 is 22.5. Then what I'm going to multiply is the exponents. They both have the same bases, so it's times 10. And then I look at 6 times -4. And what we're going to, since I look at the exponents, I'm going to add them. So it's going to be 6 plus -4, which simplifies to 2. So I'm going to have 22.5 times 10 to the second power. My final steps, I need to make sure this is written in scientific notation. It's not because this number in front of the times 10 needs to be between 1 and 10. So I need to move this decimal one spot to the left. So that means it would look like 2.25 times 10, and since I moved it one to the left, it means I would have to add an exponent, so times 10 to the third power. So now it says, how much is 30% of 170 million? In order to do this, what we need to do is write these both in scientific notation. So my first one right here is the 30%, and my second part is 170 million. So 30% written out as a decimal is just 0.3. And whenever we see the word of, this means multiplication. So it's of 170 million. So instead of just multiplying these out, what we're going to do is we're going to turn these both into scientific notation. The first one here of 0.3, this would be 3.0 times 10, and since I moved it one spot to the right, it would be -1. And I'm going to multiply that to the second one. This number has to be written between 1 and 10. So that would be times 1.7 times, my base is going to be 10. And if my decimal's right here, I'm going to move it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Since it's going to the left, it's times 10 to the 8th power. Now these are my two numbers. We have the problem that we can begin solving. I'm going to start by multiplying 3 and 1.7. So if I multiply those two, that would give me 5.1, I believe. Yes, 5.1 times, now I'm multiplying my bases of 10. Those are going to stay the same. And then I just add these. Negative 1 plus 8 is 7. So this is my final answer. It is 5.1 times 10 to the 7th power. All right, so let's go ahead now and look at some of these word problems. It says a website gets 5 million hits in one day. So 5 million people go to this website and click on something. A second website, website B, gets 4,000 hits per day, a much smaller website. Approximately how many times more does the website A get than website B? Now, whenever you're comparing something, I want us to think back to 7th grade math. Whenever we're comparing something, we can create a ratio. So basically what I'm doing is comparing website A with website B, and we're going to create a ratio between these two. The first one gets 5 million clicks, while the second one gets 4,000 clicks. So what we're going to do now is write these in scientific notation. The top one would be 5.0 times 10. And to figure out the exponent, if this is my decimal, I'll move it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And on the denominator, if here's my decimal, I move it over 1, 2, 3. So this would be 4.0 times 10 to the 3rd power. And now this is my two separate problems. I divide these. So if I were to do 5 divided by 4, this would give me 1.25 times 10. And now what we need to do is the exponent rules. They both have the same base. I'm using division, so all I do is subtract their exponents. The exponents is 6 minus 3, which is 3. Therefore, if I move the decimal over 1, 2, 3 times, so let me rewrite this. I would move the decimal over 1, 2, 3 times. That means website A gets 1,250 times more hits than website B. All right, now let's go ahead and look at this last one. It says the population of the United States is estimated to be 318 million people, while the population of the Earth is 7,120 million. Approximately how many times larger is the population of Earth compared to the population of the United States? Similar, we're comparing two things. So let's create a ratio. We are doing the population of the Earth compared to the population of United States. The population of Earth is 7,120 million. While the population of the United States is 318 million. So first, let's go ahead and write the top one in standard form, scientific notation. This would be 7.12 times 10. And in order to do that, I move the decimal over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. While on the denominator, it's 3.18 times 10. I move the decimal over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So similar like the others, what we're going to do is divide these. So I'm going to bring up my calculator and I'm going to do 7.12 divided by 3.18. This gives me 2.23. We'll round that 3 to a 4. And then what we're going to do is simplify these. I have the same base, and so all I'm going to do is subtract my exponents, so it's going to be 10 to the first power. So then if I simplify this into standard notation, standard form, all I do is move this decimal one spot to the right. So it would be 22.4 times. Therefore, what this is saying is that the Earth's population is 22.4 times larger than the United States. Alright guys, I hope this video helped. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or your teacher.